I wanted to make films for the international market because I didn't believe that, well, let me I'll try that again. The movie business is an international business, and to achieve, real success, you have to make films that appeal to every nation, every culture, and that's why genre works. People watch genre films, which may be familiar. No, I'm getting into a muddle here. Let me start again. Help me out here, darling.
No, you know exactly what you're saying. Just
yes.
say it.
Another sip of beer will help. Oh. There are a lot of really talented people that were busting to make films in the early 70s. And we have all had fairly diverse attitudes to the business, because it is a business, and it is a very expensive art form. I could go and paint a picture with $10 worth of oils and a canvas, but I painted The Man from Hong Kong with 550,000 Australian dollars. Incidentally, 20th Century Fox, who took it from America, thought that we'd spent 2 million Australian dollars on it. Good, we like that. But I've always believed that you have to find an international audience for your Australian film, and that was my philosophy. So I went for tried and true established genres, and the one thing that I concentrated on was action, because action transcends all language barriers, and a good punch-up will play just as well in Scandinavia, Argentina, China, as it will in Australia. A good punch-up, a good car chase never fails. The world wants to see such things, and they still do. So I thought for the Australian film industry to be self-sustaining, it had to look at storylines that would transcend its borders. I think Australia made some very fine films about the Australian past and Australian social issues over the years, and I don't mean to disparage those. And I actually would have liked to have made a few of those myself, and if I had, I probably would have made them with a bit more punch and at a faster pace. I think social realism can be fast, but I concentrated on established genres and particularly action. So as the Australian industry grew at that time, and an arts bureaucracy formed, then people with different motivations became decision makers in the funding process, and a stunt movie was not something that would get you plaudits at a cocktail party in the arts culture scene, and so my films were recognized as having some ability, but they weren't really thought to be valuable Australian films. However, my investors would get their money back and would be inclined to invest again, and I thought that was the most important thing to get across. So that has always been my philosophy in making films in Australia. How do I reach the non-Australian audience? And to a certain extent, of course, by trying very hard to reach the non-Australian audience, maybe you miss the Australian audience. But Australia is, a smaller proportion of the world market, and you have to think about how you're going to get the investors' money back. So I take the investors' money seriously because we want it to return.